Oh, it was truly an amazing experience. Nasir initially was going to do the role of Mannu Kapoor in Bollywood Calling, the one that Naveen Nishchal ended up doing. We couldn't make the dates work, and I went with Naveen. And so when the opportunity came for Teen Diware, obviously I approached him. He said yes, blah blah. When Nasir is on his game, he is it's an education. You have to see him work. It's an absolute education when he's on his game. And really, really great actors like that can be on their game and just go off in, snap of your fingers. It's that simple. They can be amazing completely with the character and everything, and then something pisses them off and they're off. But for Teen Diware, he loved the role of Ishan. He thought it had so many shades and stuff like that. So we had a fantastic time working, but the moment, and this is truly one of those great times when you're happy to be a filmmaker. There's a scene in Teen Diware where Nasir is talking to Juhi Chawla, who's recording him on a camera, and he's telling her his story, how it happened and stuff like that. And there's a very critical point where he says, in answer to the question, how do you end up in prison, that he shot someone. And the line was that he shot someone and she was pregnant with twins. So, and she was pregnant with twins is the line that, so I kept telling him, you're not a bad guy, so you won't say this line just like, and she was pregnant with twins, because I want the audience to find some empathy. I want them to believe that it was an accident. So, so I told him, I need you to break the line at that point. So I shot someone and completely do an opposite, come in with more of an apology, and she was pregnant with twins. Like there is some kind of remorse that he shot someone who was pregnant with twins. So he said, ha 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 ha. And Nasir wanted to, for some reason, stroke his face. So I kept telling him, see, this is what filmmaking comes down to. Long, useless discussions about a gesture. So I kept telling him, Nasir, when we did the rehearsal, that gesture is making it seem like you don't care, because it's giving it a very gangster feel, kind of stroking your face. I said, we'll do one more take. Again, he does it. I said, Nasir, honestly, I'm telling you, it's not looking right. And these were back in the days when my shooting ratio was still very small, and I couldn't afford that kind of film. So I said, please, एक take तो ऐसा कर दो ना कि you don't use that. But all these veteran actors know that if a director is asking कि एक take ऐसा कर दो, that means he's going to use that take. So a lot of times we'll also play with actors and say, that's working, superb, superb, superb. Now what I want you to do is just do this. And usually the guys who are brand new at the game will go ahead and give you that take, but the ones who are veterans, they say, no, I think we'll stick with this. So anyways, it's a give and take. So I kept telling him, please don't, please don't. So finally on the last take, he's still convinced he wants to use it. So he goes, yeah, I shot someone. And he just becomes sad. And she was pregnant with twins. And it is a goosebump moment. But he wouldn't let the gesture go. In my opinion, it could have worked, but he wouldn't let the gesture go. And when I sat on the edit a month and a half later, it is stunning. Watch the shot at some point. It is stunning. He just looks away. I mean, there's guilt, but at the same time, it's not like, it's not that. It's just that because the event happened many years ago, and he's just recounting it to a documentary filmmaker. So he just adds that slight level of sadness, and the gesture works like magic. So that's my favorite Nasir story from Teen Diware. See, I am often told that filmmaking is a visual medium, and I see directors who can't speak a word of Hindi directing in Hindi. I see actresses who can't speak a word of Telugu doing Telugu films. I think it's bullshit. Films have long ceased to be a visual medium. They are an audiovisual medium. Because if you don't pay attention to the written word, there is no way your images will bore the audience to tears. I mean, there are very few filmmakers who can get away with very little of the spoken dialogue. So the word is very important. And in the order of preference, the languages that I'm most comfortable in, English tops the list, followed by Hindi, and then Telugu. Telugu audiences, for people who don't know, are singularly the most rabid, avid movie watching audience in India. When a Bollywood film does well, your numbers that you hear are 200 crores, you know, now these numbers are being thrown around. When a Telugu film does well, you do numbers of 180, 200 crores from one state, whereas Bollywood is selling India worldwide, this, that. Telugu moviegoers will go back to the theatre 4 times, 5 times, the thing that most moviegoers in India have stopped doing. When I was growing up, since that was the only medium, we went to a theatre many times. Now you pick it up on cable, you might watch it on the internet, you might do so many other things. So with Telugu audiences, you better be damn careful. So when I'm making a Telugu film, I'm going to be 100% sure that my Telugu is at the top of its game. Not going to mess around, but I will make a Telugu film someday. Does the director have to be a writer? Absolutely not. In India, somehow they assume that the director has to write his scripts. That's because thanks to the systematic disintegration of the writer over the last 20 years, this has happened. Writers are making a huge comeback now. Huh? In the last 5 years or so, there was a time when a film would say written by Salim Javed, and people heard that and said, oh, it's a Salim Javed film, and everyone went to watch it. Literally, since that legacy, writers have lost their thing because actors have literally done whatever they wanted. They don't say lines, they change scenes, they do all those things. Writers are now making a comeback. If I had people who wrote legit scripts the way I would like it to, or in the Western sense, there's a whole script format and everything, right? If people wrote scripts that way, I'd be willing to look at a lot more stuff. I have ideas, I like to write, but it's not to say that everything that comes from my fold is interesting or good. And it's nice to get other points of view. So yeah. Here the unfortunate part is the director goes to pitch a film. What film are you going to pitch? Unless you have a friend who's a writer, you're going to end up writing your own stuff and then taking it to a producer and saying, this is my story. But no, these are completely different skills. There's absolutely no overlap, none. Just because on the set directors handle actors and they run the lines, they all think they're writers, they're not. Writing is a completely different, it's the same way as all directors think they're editors. All directors, right up to the big ones, I edit my own films. It's BS, they don't edit their own films because you need someone to give you the structure first. After you get the structure, since you are in charge of telling the story, you can do the tweaking. No film of mine is finally edited without my approval on every single frame. And I spent days, weeks on it, fine-tuning each scene. But my editor has given me the base. He's given me the understanding of what it should be. Then I can do it. It's the same way with writing. Completely different skill sets, and there's no overlap.